Well, USDA working to support global food nutrition. The department is providing $480 million to purchase American-grown commodities for international food assistance programs. U.S. Senator Jerry Moran of Kansas joins us now for an update. Senator, a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time. I know you've pushed for this funding to be used to help feed the hungry. Tell us about these programs, how they work, what we can expect from this.
Well, the good news is really twofold. One, that people who are hungry and perhaps starving around the globe are going to have another access to food. And in this case, it's children, mostly school children. What we in Kansas call Dole McGovern is really known as McGovern-Dole. And it's a program that was created in their day here in the United States Senate with a lot of support from agricultural producers across the country to help feed hungry people. I mean, I've seen this in my own life in which we see grain. Currently today, we see grain piled outside an elevator, and we're looking for markets. And one of the ways we can utilize at a time in which there are starving people, a really noble calling for agriculture, is to feed hungry people. And we can use that grain. And the good news is that USDA announced just recently, a few days ago, that they're purchasing $17 million of commodities to put into that children nutrition program around the globe. And so the thing that is good is this feeding hungry people, but also, as we know, our commodity prices are low, our supplies are high, input costs are high, profitability in agriculture is lacking, and we need every market we can get. And in this case, it's USDA purchasing U.S.-grown agriculture commodities. Good news for farmers, good news for hungry people.
Absolutely, Senator. Clearly a win-win, and we talk to farmers on a daily basis here on RFD-TV. Don't know what they're going to be doing. Record yields, of course. This being an answer to support food nutrition on a global scale. At this point, Senator, with what's happening on the Hill, of course, the possibility of this shutdown, would programs like this be at risk?
I do not believe so. The Department of Agriculture has not yet announced its guidelines for how they're going to operate in a shutdown. We will advocate for the food aid to continue to be delivered and advocate for the commodities to continue to be purchased. And we'll know more. And this shutdown is unnecessary. We really need to get out of this habit of not doing our appropriation bills, not allowing them to come to the Senate floor. And that happened during the last several years in which it was nearly impossible to get Senator Schumer to bring an appropriation bill to the floor. We have a majority leader, Senator Thune, who's totally committed to that process. And so we have a continuing resolution pending on the Senate floor now to extend the date in which current funding is available, including for USDA, to the end of November. And that ought to pass, and it ought to be easy to do while we use that time, those next several weeks, to complete our appropriations process, avoid a shutdown, and do the work that every county commission, city council, and school board does across the country, have a budget, and then appropriate the money to fit that budget.
Of course, not only the shutdown, a possibility of that, and hopefully we'll avoid that, but also a farm bill due as well. Senator, your thoughts going forward. What is possible? What will we see before this year wraps up?
Well, I can tell you that at least a significant portion, as we know of the Farm Bill, particularly the safety net, was included in the bill called reconciliation just a few weeks back. And that's really important. It sets increased reference prices. It helps farmers have conversations with their lenders about the future. But there's so much more that still needs to be done. And I can tell you that I'm involved in conversations with the leadership, members of the Senate and House Agriculture Committees. Maybe this continuing resolution might be a part of could include this idea of opportunities for the rest of the Farm Bill to be included in the continuing resolution. So that's work in progress as we try to figure out how we get 60 votes in the United States Senate to pass. Maybe adding a little sweetener to agriculture would be helpful in that cause, and we're working to see if that can be accomplished.
Absolutely. A lot of farmers, of course, working. We've heard break even. That is not going to be possible for a lot of producers out there. Senator, before I let you go, final words to the producers, farmers that are watching right now.
Well, I traveled Kansas extensively across our state in ag country and small towns in the month of August. I was back last week doing the same thing. And the good news is we had rain. And I try to be with Kansans when there is rain because they're in better moods, particularly agricultural producers and small town folks. they were in good mood. They appreciated the rain, but they know the circumstance they find themselves in is really challenging, one of the worst that I've seen in my time as a member of Congress. And so we are working to find new markets, E15 year-round, greater export opportunities, and trying to make sure that that grain piled on the ground ends up as income to farmers.
All right, Senator, thank you so much for all that you do on behalf of agriculture. Thank you for taking the time to join us here on RFD-TV. We very much appreciate it.
Suzanne.
You bet.
Thanks.